Hello, this is Brian Anderson again, bringing you another devotion. We are again in the book of Genesis. Today we have come to Genesis chapter 22. And verses 1 and 2 say this: Now it came about after these things that God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. He said, Take now your son, your only son whom you love, Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I will tell you. Now, Abraham's commitment to offering up Isaac as a burnt offering, because he believed that God was able to raise him from the dead, and we find that from Hebrews chapter 11, has got to be the pinnacle of faith in the Bible. Abraham had waited for decades for God to give him a son, and now that God had finally come through and given him a son, He's testing him and requiring him to give up that very son. Not only that, but God required Abraham to kill his son and then consume his body in flames. That's what you do with a burnt offering. So the amazing thing is that Abraham doesn't even seem to hesitate. The Bible says he rose early in the morning, saddled his donkey, took two of his young men with him and Isaac, and split wood for the burnt offering, and then he arose and went to the place of which God had told him. I can't help but wonder what was going through his mind. You ever wonder that? I assume he was experiencing a great conflict and agony of soul. I wonder if he told Sarah what he was planning on doing, or if he kept that to himself. Was he wondering what he would tell her if he ended up returning alone without his son? What a test. I can't imagine a greater test than that. It makes me so grateful that the testing of my faith only involves encountering various trials. That's what James 1 verses 2 and 3 say. So the next time I feel like complaining about the trials I'm experiencing, I need to remember Abraham's great trial. And I need to be thankful that God is not requiring me to sacrifice my son. I remember when I was in my 20s. I was a new Christian, a year or two old in the Lord, and I felt like the Lord wanted me to give up the banjo. Now, I had been really serious about playing the banjo for about 5 years. I played professionally, traveled to Western United States, cut an album. I really wanted to take it to the next level and become really proficient, and so I devoted myself to the instrument. But then I became a Christian, and Christ became the love and the center of my life. And I felt like he was telling me that it was too important to me, and that at least for a period of time, I needed to set it aside and devote myself completely to him. And so that's what I ended up doing. I put my banjo in its case, slid it under the bed, and I rarely took it out for the next 20 years. Now, eventually, I felt like the Lord released me to be able to go back and play again. But for a period of time, I needed to give that up to the Lord. So I'm just wondering if there's something in your life that's an Isaac, like my banjo was an Isaac to me. Is the Lord requiring you to give up something that you love? Remember, Abraham loved Isaac. He didn't want to part with him. He didn't want to offer him as a sacrifice. Is there something that you have grown to love maybe too much, maybe more than the Lord, that the Lord is telling you, you need to give this up? You need to sacrifice this. You need to make me completely yours and be unhindered and be undistracted. If that's the case, my encouragement is just to do it and do it quickly, because it's in that you're going to find freedom and joy in your relationship with him.